In promoting human dignity and well-being, it is appropriate to emphasize what we call innate dignity or inherent dignity or unconditional dignity. This is dignity that is based on who you are, that you are a human being created in the image of God. So it is not based on what you do, it's not based on what you have. It is not dignity that is bestowed on you from external sources. It is not dignity that is based on your profession, your educational level, your race or ethnicity, your financial status, social status, gender, some group affiliations or associations. No, this is dignity that is based on the fact that you are created in the image of God. So it is inherent, it is innate, it is unconditional. So why do we encourage innate dignity based on God identity compared to dignity that is supposed to be bestowed on us externally? It is because, number one, the God identity is the most befitting identity that a human being can have. The God image is the highest image that a human being can have. So that because of the God potential or God image, the God ability, we humans can be, do, and have what is humanly possible. So human achievements that give us some feelings of being dignified are actually possible because of how God created us in His image. So we don't credit our achievements as our source of dignity, but the God potential that creates achievements as our source of dignity. So the God identity, the God image, is the most befitting of all identities or all images. And that is why we promote it as the best source of dignity or innate dignity. Another reason why we want to promote innate identity based on the God identity is because it is freely accessible to all humanity. No human being played any special role to be created in the image of God or to be created by God. So the sense of being created by God and being created in the image of God is freely accessible to all humanity. This sense of identity does not encourage a power gap or human supremacy or some kind of discrimination, because the God identity is freely accessible to all humanity. The third reason why we encourage promotion of innate dignity based on the God identity is because this innate dignity is not always changing, it's not fluctuating. So to say that something is innate, inherent, unconditional means that it is always there. It is not going to be changing all the time because it's a new day, a new week, or a new month, or because your mind keeps changing or your feelings keep changing. You get to receive new information about God or new revelations about God. It still does not change the fact that God is not always changing, your God identity is not always changing. And so that innate dignity, being a human being created in the image of God, is not always changing. So if you have a sense of identity that is based on your innate dignity, then this sense of identity is not going to be fluctuating or always changing, because times are changing, because environments are changing, because you are with different people. A fourth reason why we encourage the God identity as a basis for human dignity is because it is the most credible source of identity that a human being can have. For instance, we know that every product derives its identity from the manufacturer. So if God is our manufacturer, the manufacturer of the human being, then we derive our identity from God. You can trace your root from your nuclear family to your extended family, your village that you come from, or your hometown, to your region, to your country, your continent. You can keep tracing until you get to a point you realize that you are a human being created in the image of God, and God is your source. So then that story that God tells about the product, about the human being, is the most credible, because the manufacturer of a product provides a manual that tells the best story about the product. So God, our manufacturer, tells the best story, the best human story about us. That is why a God identity is the most credible identity that we human beings have in the midst of all other identities. So if you are interested in promoting human dignity and well-being, then you have to encourage human respect, human and non-human dignity that is based on an innate dignity, which is from a God identity. So you want to encourage everyone to adopt self-respect, self-approval, self-validation, and some kind of self-acceptance. You want people to respect themselves, to like themselves, to believe in themselves, to approve of themselves, based on the fact that they are created in the image of God, and therefore they have an innate dignity that is based on a God identity. In that sense, also, you are encouraging everybody else to respect others, to honor other people based on the same God identity that gives us innate dignity. On the other hand, you are going to be discouraging every human attempt that seeks to promote activities that fight against the collective dignity and well-being of the human being. So you are going to discourage the creation of a power gap between human beings. You are going to discourage human supremacy of any kind. You are going to discourage discrimination of any kind. So regardless of the reason for the discrimination or the creation of power gaps or human supremacy, whether it's religious reasons or it is cultural reasons or reasons based on some societal classification of the human being, or reasons based on professional status, educational level, gender, race, ethnicity, group affiliations, and so on, you are going to discourage that because they do not encourage the promotion of the collective well-being and dignity of the human being. And that is what we mean by loving your neighbor as yourself. Loving your neighbor as yourself and doing unto others as you would have them do unto you has to do with you believing, encouraging, and promoting the collective well-being and dignity of the human being.